What if everything you thought you knew about ancient civilizations was only half the story? Picture this: a powerful empire, lost to time, whose myths and legends hold secrets that could reshape our understanding of history. The Hittites, a civilization that thrived over 3,000 years ago, left behind stories so profound, so mysterious, that they challenge the very foundations of what we believe about the past. These aren't just tales of gods and heroes, they're windows into a world where myth and reality blur, where the lines between history and legend are thinner than you might think. Today, we're diving into 30 Hittite myths that don't just tell us about their world, they force us to question ours. From vanishing gods to cosmic battles, these stories are more than ancient folklore. They're clues to a past that might rewrite history as we know it. So, are you ready to uncover the mysteries that have puzzled historians for centuries? Stay with us, because by the end of this journey, you might just see the ancient world and our place in it in a whole new light. Now, let's step into the world of the Hittites and meet one of their most powerful figures, Tarhun, the storm god. Unlike the typical weather deities you might think of, Tarhun wasn't just a bringer of rain or thunder. He was a symbol of raw, untamed power, a force that shaped not only the skies but the very fabric of Hittite life. In their myths, Tarhun wasn't just a god who controlled the weather. He was a protector, a warrior, and a key figure in their understanding of the natural world. The Hittites saw storms not just as destructive forces, but as necessary acts of renewal. Tarhun's thunder wasn't just noise, it was the voice of the heavens, reminding people of the balance between chaos and order. His lightning wasn't just a flash in the sky, it was a divine weapon striking down evil and injustice. This perspective challenges the way we often think of ancient weather gods as mere symbols of fear or destruction. For the Hittites, Tarhun was a complex figure, embodying both the terror and the beauty of nature. But Tarhun's role went even deeper. He wasn't just a god of the skies, he was a central figure in Hittite rituals and daily life. Kings would invoke his name to legitimize their rule, claiming his power as their own. Farmers would pray to him for rain, not just out of fear, but out of respect for his role in the cycle of life. This connection between Tarhun and the people shows how deeply intertwined myth and reality were for the Hittites. Their understanding of power, both divine and earthly, was shaped by stories like his. What's truly fascinating is how Tarhun's myths reflect the Hittites' broader worldview. They saw the world as a place of constant struggle, where forces of order and chaos were always at odds. Tarhun wasn't just a god, he was a metaphor for their own battles, their own efforts to maintain balance in a world that could easily tip into disorder. This challenges the idea that ancient myths were just simple stories. For the Hittites, they were a way to make sense of the world, to find meaning in the unpredictable forces around them. So, as we explore Tarhun's myths, we're not just learning about a storm god, we're uncovering a window into how the Hittites saw themselves and their place in the universe. And as we'll see, this is just the beginning. The next myth takes us even deeper into their cosmic fears and beliefs. Now, let's turn our attention to another captivating myth from the Hittite world, the mysterious disappearance of the sun god. Imagine a world where the sun, the very source of light and life, suddenly vanishes. For the Hittites, this wasn't just a terrifying thought. It was a story that held deep meaning about their understanding of the cosmos and the delicate balance that held their world together. In this myth, the sun god, a central figure in their pantheon, inexplicably disappears, plunging the world into darkness. Without the sun, crops wither, rivers dry up, and chaos begins to spread. The Hittites believed that the sun god's absence wasn't just a natural event. It was a sign that the cosmic order had been disrupted. This myth reflects their deep-seated fear of losing the balance that kept their world functioning. For them, the sun wasn't just a celestial body, it was a symbol of stability, justice, and divine will. What's fascinating is how the Hittites responded to this crisis in their myths. The other gods, desperate to restore order, embark on a quest to find the missing sun god. This journey isn't just a physical search, it's a metaphor for the struggle to restore harmony in a world thrown into disarray. The gods' efforts to bring back the sun reveal the Hittites' belief in the interconnectedness of all things. They saw the universe as a delicate web, where the actions of one deity could ripple through the entire cosmos. This myth also sheds light on the Hittites' view of divine responsibility. The sun god's disappearance isn't portrayed as a random act. It's often linked to a failure in the god's duties or a breakdown in their relationships. This suggests that the Hittites saw their gods as active participants in maintaining cosmic order, not distant or indifferent figures. If the gods faltered, the consequences were dire, and it was up to them, and by extension the people, to set things right. But perhaps the most striking aspect of this myth is what it tells us about the Hittites' fears. The disappearance of the sun god wasn't just a story about darkness, it was a reflection of their anxieties about the fragility of their world. They lived in a time when natural disasters, invasions, and other uncertainties were constant threats. This myth, in a way, gave them a way to process those fears, to imagine a world where even the gods could falter, but where balance could ultimately be restored. As we explore this myth, we're not just uncovering an ancient story, we're seeing how the Hittites grappled with some of the most profound questions about existence. What happens when the forces that sustain life disappear? How do we restore balance in a world that seems to be falling apart? These are questions that resonate even today, reminding us that the Hittites' myths are more than just relics of the past. They're windows into the human experience. And with that, we're ready to dive into the next myth, where we'll encounter a fearsome dragon and a battle that challenges everything we think we know about Hittite mythology. Now, let's journey into a tale of epic proportions, the legendary battle between Tarhun, the mighty storm god, and the fearsome dragon Ilyanka. This myth isn't just a thrilling story of gods and monsters, it's a powerful reflection of the Hittites' worldview, their struggles, and their understanding of the forces that shape their lives. At the heart of this myth is a clash between order and chaos. Tarhun, the bringer of storms and a symbol of divine power, faces off against Ilyanka, a monstrous dragon that represents chaos and destruction. The battle between them is fierce and dramatic, but it's also deeply symbolic. For the Hittites, this wasn't just a fight between two mythical beings. It was a metaphor for the constant struggle to maintain balance in a world filled with uncertainty. What makes this myth particularly intriguing is how it challenges our understanding of Hittite mythology. Unlike many ancient cultures that portrayed their gods as invincible, the Hittites didn't shy away from showing their deities as vulnerable. In some versions of the story, Tarhun is initially defeated by Ilyanka, a surprising twist that reveals the Hittites' belief in the unpredictability of life. Even the gods, they seem to say, could face setbacks and challenges, but Tarhun's eventual victory over the dragon carries a deeper meaning. It's not just a triumph of strength, it's a testament to resilience, strategy, and the importance of alliances. In one version of the myth, Tarhun enlists the help of a mortal, a human named Hypatia, to outsmart Ilyanka. This collaboration between the divine and the mortal underscores the Hittites' belief in the interconnectedness of all beings. It suggests that overcoming chaos requires not just divine intervention but also human ingenuity and cooperation. The myth of Ilyanka also reflects the Hittite societal struggles. Living in a region prone to natural disasters and external threats, they understood the fragility of their world. The dragon, with its destructive power, could be seen as a symbol of these external forces, whether they were invading armies, droughts, or other calamities. Tarhun's battle against Ilyanka, then, becomes a story of resilience in the face of adversity, a reminder that even in the darkest times, order can be restored. This myth also challenges the idea that ancient myths were purely fantastical. For the Hittites, these stories were deeply rooted in their lived experiences. The struggle between Tarhun and Ilianka wasn't just entertainment, it was a way for them to make sense of the challenges they faced and to find hope in the possibility of overcoming them. It's a reminder that mythology, at its core, is about understanding the human condition. As we explore this tale, we're not just uncovering an ancient story, we're seeing how the Hittites used mythology to grapple with the complexities of their world. The battle between Tarhun and Ilianka is more than a myth. It's a reflection of their resilience, their fears, and their enduring belief in the power of order over chaos. And with that, we're ready to move forward, where we'll uncover the mysterious disappearance of another key figure in Hittite mythology, Telepinu, the god of agriculture, and the profound lessons his story holds. Now, let's turn our attention to a myth that strikes at the very heart of survival, the mysterious disappearance of Telepinu, the Hittite god of agriculture. This story isn't just about a missing deity. It's a profound reflection of the Hittites' deepest fears and their understanding of the delicate balance that sustains life. Telepinu's disappearance brings chaos to the world. Crops wither, animals stop reproducing, and the land becomes barren. Without the god who ensures fertility and growth, the Hittites face the terrifying prospect of famine and collapse. This myth captures their anxiety about the fragility of life and their dependence on the natural world. It's a reminder that even the most essential forces can vanish without warning, leaving devastation in their wake. What makes this myth particularly compelling is how it mirrors the Hittites' lived experiences. Living in a region where agriculture was the backbone of their society, they were acutely aware of how vulnerable they were to droughts, pests, and other natural disasters. Telepinu's disappearance isn't just a divine mystery, it's a metaphor for the unpredictability of nature and the constant threat of hunger that loomed over their lives. But the story doesn't end with despair. The Hittites, ever resourceful, take action to restore balance. They send out messengers to search for Telepinu, and when he is finally found, they perform rituals to appease him and bring him back. This part of the myth reveals their belief in the power of human effort and ritual to influence the divine. It's a testament to their resilience and their determination to overcome even the most dire circumstances. Telepinu's return brings renewal. The land flourishes once more and life returns to normal. This resolution underscores the Hittites' hope that even in the face of chaos, order can be restored. It's a powerful message of perseverance and faith, one that resonates deeply with their struggles and triumphs. This myth also challenges our understanding of ancient deities. Unlike gods who are always present and all-powerful, Telepinu is portrayed as fallible and vulnerable. His disappearance shows that even the divine can be affected by the unpredictability of life, a concept that reflects the Hittites' nuanced view of the world. They didn't see their gods as distant, untouchable beings, but as forces deeply intertwined with the human experience. As we explore the myth of Telepinu, we're not just uncovering an ancient story, we're gaining insight into the Hittites' relationship with the natural world and their strategies for coping with uncertainty. It's a tale that speaks to the universal human experience of facing challenges and finding ways to overcome them. And with that, we're ready to delve into another fascinating aspect of Hittite mythology, the sacred marriage of the storm god Tarhun, and how this ritual reflects their beliefs about divine relationships and societal harmony. Now, let's step into the realm of divine unions and explore the sacred marriage of Tarhun, the Hittite storm god. This myth isn't just a tale of celestial romance, it's a profound reflection of the Hittites' beliefs about harmony, balance, and the interconnectedness of the divine and human world. In Hittite mythology, Tarhun's sacred marriage is a central ritual that symbolizes the union of the storm god with a goddess, often associated with fertility or the earth. This union isn't merely symbolic, it's seen as essential for maintaining cosmic order. The Hittites believed that the marriage of these deities ensured the fertility of the land, the prosperity of their people, and the stability of their society. It's a powerful reminder of how deeply they saw the divine as intertwined with their everyday lives. What makes this myth particularly intriguing is how it challenges traditional views of divine relationships. Unlike many ancient cultures where gods were often portrayed as distant or detached, the Hittites depicted their deities as actively involved in the world. Tarhun's sacred marriage isn't just a private affair between gods, it's a public event with real-world consequences. The ritual reenactment of this marriage by priests and priestesses was believed to invoke the gods' blessings, ensuring rain for crops, protection from storms, and overall prosperity. This myth also sheds light on the Hittites' understanding of gender roles and power dynamics. The goddess in this sacred union isn't a passive figure, she plays a crucial role in maintaining balance. Her partnership with Tarhun highlights the idea that both masculine and feminine forces are necessary for harmony. This challenges the notion of male-dominated divine hierarchies found in many other mythologies, offering a more nuanced view of how the Hittites perceived power and partnership. The sacred marriage ritual itself was a grand celebration filled with music, offerings, and symbolic acts. It wasn't just a religious ceremony, it was a communal event that brought people together, reinforcing their shared identity and purpose. Through this ritual, the Hittites expressed their belief in the power of unity, both divine and human, to create a thriving society. This myth also invites us to reconsider how ancient cultures viewed the relationship between gods and humans. For the Hittites, the sacred marriage wasn't just about the gods, it was about the people. By participating in the ritual, they believed they could influence the divine and secure their own well-being. It's a striking example of how they saw themselves as active participants in the cosmic order, rather than passive observers. As we reflect on the sacred marriage of Tarhun, we're reminded of the Hittites' deep connection to the natural and divine worlds. This myth challenges us to think differently about ancient beliefs, showing us a culture that valued balance, partnership, and the power of ritual to shape their reality. And with that, we're ready to journey into the shadowy depths of the Hittite underworld, where the ruler Lelwani holds sway, and explore how their beliefs about the afterlife reveal even more about their worldview. Now, let's descend into the mysterious realm of the Hittite underworld, a place shrouded in darkness and ruled by the enigmatic deity Lelwani. This myth offers a fascinating glimpse into how the Hittites envisioned life after death, and it challenges many of the assumptions we might have about ancient afterlife beliefs. In Hittite mythology, the underworld wasn't just a shadowy abyss, it was a structured, complex realm with its own hierarchy and rules. Lelwani, the ruler of this domain, was a figure of immense power and authority. Unlike the underworld gods of some other cultures who are often feared or seen as malevolent, Lelwani was viewed with a mix of reverence and respect. This reflects the Hittites' nuanced understanding of death and the afterlife, where the underworld wasn't merely a place of punishment but a necessary part of the cosmic order. What makes this myth particularly intriguing is how it contrasts with the afterlife beliefs of neighboring civilizations. For example, while the Egyptians envisioned a highly detailed journey through the afterlife, complete with trials and rewards, the Hittites saw the underworld as a more neutral space. It wasn't about eternal bliss or torment, it was about balance. The dead were believed to continue their existence in this realm, maintaining a connection to the living world through rituals and offerings. This challenges the idea that ancient afterlife beliefs were universally focused on reward or punishment, showing instead a culture that valued continuity and harmony. The role of Lelwani in this myth also sheds light on the Hittites' views on power and governance. As the ruler of the underworld, Lelwani wasn't just a passive overseer, they were an active participant in maintaining cosmic balance. This reflects the Hittites' belief in the importance of strong, just leadership even in the realm of the dead. It's a reminder that their mythology wasn't just about explaining the unknown, it was about reinforcing the values and structures that held their society together. Rituals played a crucial role in the Hittites' relationship with the underworld. They believed that by honoring the dead and performing specific ceremonies, they could ensure the well-being of both the living and the deceased. These rituals often involved offerings of food, drink, and other items, symbolizing the ongoing connection between the two worlds. This practice challenges the notion that ancient cultures saw death as a final separation, instead highlighting a belief in an enduring bond between the living and the dead. The myth of the underworld also invites us to reconsider how the Hittites viewed the concept of eternity. For them, the afterlife wasn't a static state, it was a dynamic continuation of existence. This perspective challenges the idea that ancient afterlife beliefs were simplistic or one-dimensional, offering instead a more layered and sophisticated understanding of life, death, and what lies beyond. As we explore the Hittite underworld and the role of Lelwani, we're reminded of the depth and complexity of their beliefs. This myth not only challenges our assumptions about ancient afterlife concepts, but also reveals a culture that saw death as an integral part of the cosmic order, one that required respect, ritual, and balance. And with that, we're ready to turn our gaze upward to the heavens, where the Hittites believed the moon once fell from the sky, a celestial event that holds its own mysteries and meanings. Now, let's shift our focus from the depths of the underworld to the vast expanse of the heavens, where the Hittites believed the moon once fell from the sky. This myth, as strange as it may sound, offers a fascinating window into how the Hittites understood the cosmos and the forces that governed it. The story of the falling moon is one of the most striking myths in Hittite mythology. According to the tale, the moon, a celestial body revered for its light and cycles, suddenly plummeted from the sky, plunging the world into chaos. This event wasn't just a random occurrence, it was seen as a disruption of the natural order, a sign that something had gone terribly wrong in the balance of the universe. For the Hittites, the moon wasn't just a distant object in the sky. It was a powerful force tied to their daily lives, agriculture, and even their rituals. What makes this myth particularly intriguing is how it reflects the Hittites' observations of the natural world. While we might interpret such a story as purely symbolic, it's possible that it was inspired by real celestial events. For example, eclipses, which would have been both awe-inspiring and terrifying to ancient peoples, could have been the basis for this myth. The sudden darkening of the moon during an eclipse might have been interpreted as the moon falling from the sky, a dramatic event that demanded explanation. This myth also reveals the Hittites' belief in the interconnectedness of the cosmos and earthly life. The moon's fall wasn't just a celestial event, it had immediate and profound consequences for the world below. Crops might fail, seasons could become unpredictable, and the balance of life itself could be thrown into disarray. This reflects a worldview where the heavens and the earth were deeply intertwined, and where celestial events were seen as direct influences on human affairs. The Hittites' response to this myth is equally revealing. They didn't simply accept the moon's fall as an inevitable disaster. Instead, they believed that through rituals and offerings, they could restore balance and ensure the moon's return to its rightful place in the sky. This highlights their proactive approach to the unknown, their belief that human actions could influence the divine and cosmic order. It's a reminder that for the Hittites, mythology wasn't just about explaining the world, it was about finding ways to navigate and control it. The legend of the falling moon also challenges our assumptions about ancient astronomy. While we often think of ancient peoples as having a limited understanding of the cosmos, this myth shows that the Hittites were keen observers of the sky. They recognized the moon's importance not just as a source of light, but as a marker of time and a symbol of stability. The idea that its fall could disrupt the world suggests a sophisticated understanding of the moon's role in their lives and in the broader cosmic order. As we explore this myth, we're reminded of the Hittites' ability to weave together observation, imagination, and belief into stories that explain their world. The falling moon isn't just a tale of celestial chaos, it's a reflection of their deep connection to the cosmos and their efforts to make sense of the forces that shaped their lives. And with that, we're ready to turn our attention to another intriguing figure in Hittite mythology, a goddess whose disappearance brought chaos to the world, challenging our understanding of divine power and gender roles. Now, let's step into the realm of divine intrigue, where the disappearance of a goddess sends ripples through the Hittite world, revealing much about their views on power, gender, and the delicate balance of the cosmos. The myth of the vanishing goddess is a tale that not only captivates but also challenges our understanding of how the Hittites perceived the roles of their deities and the consequences when those roles were disrupted. This story centers around a powerful goddess whose sudden absence throws the world into disarray. Unlike the falling moon, which was a celestial event, the vanishing goddess represents a more personal and intimate kind of chaos. Her disappearance isn't just a loss of divine presence, it's a rupture in the fabric of daily life. Crops wither, rivers dry up, and the natural order begins to unravel. For the Hittites, this wasn't just a story. It was a reflection of their belief in the essential role that goddesses played in maintaining harmony and fertility. What makes this myth particularly fascinating is how it highlights the Hittites' views on gender roles within their pantheon. While many ancient cultures relegated goddesses to secondary or supportive roles, the Hittites recognized the critical importance of female deities. The vanishing goddess isn't a passive figure. She's a central force whose absence has immediate and devastating consequences. This suggests that the Hittites saw divine power as inherently balanced, with both male and female deities playing equally vital roles in the cosmos. The chaos caused by her disappearance also underscores the interconnectedness of the divine and the mortal worlds. For the Hittites, the goddess's presence wasn't just symbolic, it was tangible. Her absence meant more than just a spiritual void. It meant real, physical hardship for the people. This reflects a worldview where the divine wasn't distant or detached but deeply involved in the everyday lives of humans. The goddess's return, often achieved through rituals and offerings, wasn't just a restoration of divine order. It was a return to normalcy for the people who depended on her. This myth also offers a glimpse into how the Hittites viewed the concept of divine power itself. The goddess's ability to vanish and reappear suggests a fluidity and unpredictability in the divine realm. Unlike the storm god Tarhun, whose power was often depicted as raw and forceful, the vanishing goddess embodies a different kind of strength, one that is subtle, nurturing, and yet equally essential. Her story challenges the idea that power is always loud and visible, reminding us that sometimes it's the quiet, unseen forces that hold the world together. As we explore this myth, we're reminded of the Hittites' nuanced understanding of gender and power. The vanishing goddess isn't just a figure of myth, she's a reflection of their belief in the balance of male and female energies, both in the heavens and on earth. Her story invites us to reconsider our own assumptions about ancient societies and their views on gender roles, offering a fresh perspective on how the Hittites navigated the complexities of their world. With this tale of divine disappearance still lingering in our minds, we're ready to turn our attention to another captivating figure in Hittite mythology, a heroic hunter whose battles against supernatural forces reveal even more about their values and beliefs. Now, let's journey into the wild and untamed landscapes of Hittite mythology, where the tale of the heroic hunter unfolds, a story that pits mortal courage against supernatural forces. This myth isn't just about bravery, it's a profound exploration of what it meant to be a hero in the eyes of the Hittites, and how their values of strength, cunning, and morality shaped their understanding of heroism. The heroic hunter is a figure who stands apart from the gods, yet his deeds are no less extraordinary. Unlike the divine battles of Tarhun or the cosmic struggles of the sun god, the hunter's story is deeply rooted in the human experience. He ventures into the wilderness, facing creatures that defy the natural order, beasts that are neither fully animal nor fully spirit. These encounters aren't just tests of physical strength, they're challenges to his wit, his resolve, and his moral compass. What makes this myth so compelling is how it redefines heroism. For the Hittites, a hero wasn't just someone who could wield a weapon or defeat an enemy. True heroism was about balance, knowing when to fight and when to show restraint, when to assert dominance and when to respect the natural world. The hunter's battles aren't just against monsters, they're against the chaos that threatens to upset the harmony of the world. In this way, the hunter becomes a guardian of order, a protector of both the human and divine realms. The supernatural forces the hunter faces are more than just adversaries, they're symbols of the unknown and the uncontrollable. By confronting these beings, the hunter embodies the Hittite belief in the power of human agency. He doesn't rely on divine intervention to save him. Instead, he uses his own skills and intelligence to overcome the challenges before him. This reflects a worldview where humans aren't passive recipients of fate but active participants in shaping their own destiny. Yet, the hunter's story also carries a moral dimension. His victories aren't achieved through brute force alone. They're earned through respect for the natural world and an understanding of its rules. The Hittites saw the wilderness as a place of both danger and sacredness, and the hunter's ability to navigate this duality speaks to their reverence for balance. His heroism isn't just about conquering the wild, it's about coexisting with it, recognizing that even the fiercest creatures have a place in the cosmic order. This myth also challenges our modern assumptions about ancient heroism. While many cultures celebrate heroes for their strength or their ability to dominate, the Hittite hunter reminds us that true heroism often lies in humility and wisdom. His story invites us to reconsider what it means to be a hero, not just in the context of ancient myths but in our own lives as well. As we reflect on the hunter's journey, we're reminded of the Hittites' deep connection to the natural world and their belief in the power of human ingenuity. His tale isn't just a thrilling adventure, it's a testament to the values that shaped Hittite society, offering us a glimpse into their understanding of courage, morality, and the delicate balance between humanity and the divine. With the echoes of the hunter's exploits still fresh, we're ready to turn our attention to another intriguing aspect of Hittite mythology, the story of divine twins, whose tale challenges our understanding of duality and balance in ancient cultures. Now, as we step into the realm of duality and balance, we encounter one of the most fascinating figures in Hittite mythology, the divine twins. These celestial siblings embody the concept of opposites, representing the delicate interplay between light and darkness, order and chaos, life and death. Their story isn't just a tale of kinship, it's a profound exploration of how the Hittites understood the forces that shape the world. The divine twins are often depicted as two halves of a whole, each complementing the other in ways that defy simple categorization. One twin might represent the sun, bringing warmth and growth, while the other embodies the moon, governing the mysteries of the night. Together, they form a harmonious balance, reflecting the Hittite belief that the universe thrives on the tension between opposing forces. This duality isn't about conflict, it's about cooperation, showing how seemingly contradictory elements can coexist to create a greater whole. What makes this myth so intriguing is how it challenges our modern assumptions about duality. In many cultures, opposites are seen as irreconcilable: light versus dark, good versus evil. But for the Hittites, the divine twins illustrate that these forces aren't enemies, they're partners. Their relationship suggests that balance isn't achieved by eliminating one side, but by embracing the necessity of both. This perspective offers a refreshing take on ancient cosmology, revealing a worldview that values harmony over hierarchy. The twins also play a crucial role in Hittite rituals and ceremonies. They were often invoked to ensure the stability of the natural world, their presence symbolizing the cyclical nature of life. Farmers might call upon them to bless their crops, while rulers sought their guidance to maintain order in their kingdoms. This connection between the divine twins and everyday life underscores how deeply the Hittites believed in the interconnectedness of all things. Their mythology wasn't just about grand cosmic battles, it was about the subtle, everyday acts of balance that kept the world turning. Moreover, the myth of the divine twins challenges traditional views of duality in ancient cultures. While many societies saw opposites as a source of tension, the Hittites viewed them as a source of strength. The twin story reminds us that balance isn't static, it's dynamic, requiring constant effort and understanding. This idea resonates even today, offering a timeless lesson about the importance of embracing complexity and finding unity in diversity. As we reflect on the divine twins, we're reminded of the Hittites' profound respect for the natural order and their belief in the power of balance. Their story isn't just a myth, it's a blueprint for understanding the world, one that challenges us to see beyond binaries and appreciate the beauty of harmony. With a tale of the divine twins still lingering in our minds, we're ready to explore another captivating aspect of Hittite mythology, the legend of the stone giant, a figure that embodies the fears and uncertainties of an ancient world grappling with the forces of nature. Now, as we shift our focus to the darker corners of Hittite mythology, we encounter a figure that embodies the raw, untamed power of nature, the stone giant. This towering being, carved from the very earth itself, is more than just a mythical creature. It's a symbol of the Hittites' deepest fears about the uncontrollable forces that shaped their world. The stone giant is often depicted as a colossal figure, its body made of jagged rock and its movements shaking the ground beneath it. Unlike the divine twins who represent balance and harmony, the stone giant is a force of chaos, a reminder of nature's destructive potential. Its presence in Hittite myths reflects the very real anxieties of a people living in a landscape prone to earthquakes, landslides, and other natural disasters. For the Hittites, the stone giant wasn't just a story. It was a way to make sense of the unpredictable and often terrifying world around them. What makes this myth so compelling is how it personifies the Hittites' struggle against forces beyond their control. The stone giant isn't just a physical threat, it's a metaphor for the fragility of human life in the face of nature's power. Its rampages through the land mirror the devastation caused by earthquakes or floods, events that could wipe out entire communities in an instant. By giving these disasters a face, the Hittites could confront their fears and, in some ways, find a sense of agency in the midst of chaos. The stone giant also serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of hubris. In many versions of the myth, the giant is awakened or provoked by human actions, whether through greed, arrogance, or a failure to respect the natural world. This theme resonates deeply with the Hittites' worldview, which emphasized the importance of living in harmony with nature. The giant's wrath is a reminder that even the mightiest civilizations are vulnerable to the whims of the earth, a lesson that feels strikingly relevant even today. Yet, the myth of the stone giant isn't just about fear, it's also about resilience. In many stories, the Hittites don't simply cower before the giant. They find ways to outsmart it, using their wits and ingenuity to survive. These tales highlight the Hittites' resourcefulness and their determination to persevere in the face of overwhelming odds. The stone giant, for all its terror, becomes a test of human courage and adaptability, a challenge that ultimately strengthens the community. This myth also offers a unique perspective on how the Hittites viewed their relationship with the natural world. Unlike some cultures that saw nature as something to be conquered, the Hittites understood it as a powerful, unpredictable force that demanded respect. The stone giant embodies this duality. It's both a destroyer and a teacher, a reminder of humanity's vulnerability and its capacity for resilience. As we reflect on the legend of the stone giant, we're reminded of the Hittites' profound connection to the land and their awareness of its power. This myth isn't just a story about a monster, it's a reflection of their struggles, their fears, and their enduring spirit. It challenges us to think about our own relationship with the natural world and the ways we navigate the forces that shape our lives. With the stone giant's shadow still looming in our minds, we're ready to explore another intriguing aspect of Hittite mythology, the belief in talking animals, a concept that reveals their unique perspective on the natural world and the boundaries between humans and beasts. Now, as we step into the realm of the extraordinary, we encounter a fascinating aspect of Hittite mythology, the belief in talking animals. This concept might sound like something out of a fairy tale, but for the Hittites, it was a profound reflection of their worldview, blurring the lines between humans and the natural world. In Hittite myths, animals aren't just creatures of instinct. They are beings with voices, wisdom, and even the ability to guide or challenge humans. These talking animals often serve as messengers, advisors, or even tricksters, playing pivotal roles in the stories that shape Hittite culture. For instance, a wise bird might offer crucial advice to a hero, or a cunning fox could outsmart a god, revealing layers of meaning that go beyond the surface. What makes this belief so intriguing is how it challenges our modern understanding of ancient societies. While we often think of ancient cultures as viewing animals purely as resources or symbols, the Hittites saw them as active participants in their world. Talking animals in their myths weren't just metaphors, they were embodiments of the interconnectedness of all life. This perspective suggests that the Hittites had a more nuanced relationship with nature, one that acknowledged the intelligence and agency of non-human beings. The role of talking animals in Hittite mythology also sheds light on their views on communication. In a world where the boundaries between the human and natural realms were more fluid, the ability to speak with animals wasn't just a fantastical idea, it was a way to bridge the gap between different forms of existence. These stories suggest that the Hittites believed in a kind of universal language, one that could transcend species and connect all living things. This idea challenges our modern assumptions about communication, inviting us to consider how ancient cultures might have understood the world in ways that are profoundly different from our own. Moreover, the presence of talking animals in Hittite myths often serves as a mirror for human behavior. These creatures frequently act as moral guides, exposing human flaws or offering lessons in humility and respect. A talking animal might chastise a greedy king or reward a kind-hearted farmer, reinforcing the values that were central to Hittite society. Through these interactions, the myths remind us that wisdom can come from unexpected places, and that the natural world has much to teach us if we're willing to listen. This belief in talking animals also highlights the Hittites' deep respect for the natural world. Unlike cultures that saw nature as something to be dominated, the Hittites viewed it as a partner, a source of wisdom, and even a teacher. The talking animals in their myths embody this relationship, serving as reminders that humans are not separate from nature, but part of a larger, interconnected web of life. As we reflect on the myth of the talking animals, we're invited to reconsider our own relationship with the natural world. The Hittites' belief in these creatures challenges us to think about how we communicate with the environment around us and what we might learn if we listened more closely. It's a reminder that the boundaries we draw between humans and animals are often more cultural than natural, and that there's much to gain from seeing the world through a different lens. With the echoes of these ancient voices still lingering, we're ready to delve into another captivating Hittite myth, the tale of the cursed king, a story that explores themes of power, divine punishment, and the consequences of human ambition. Now, as we turn the page to another chapter of Hittite mythology, we encounter a story that delves into the darker side of power and the consequences of human ambition, the tale of the cursed king. This myth serves as a powerful reminder of the Hittites' belief in the delicate balance between mortal authority and divine will, offering a glimpse into their views on leadership, responsibility, and the inevitable repercussions of overreaching. The cursed king in this myth is a figure who, despite his initial greatness, falls victim to his own hubris. Believing himself to be above the gods, he defies their laws and neglects his sacred duties, leading to a devastating curse that brings ruin to his kingdom. The gods, in their wrath, strip him of his power and inflict suffering not only on him but also on his people, illustrating the Hittite belief that a ruler's actions have far-reaching consequences. What makes this story so compelling is how it reflects the Hittites' understanding of leadership. For them, a king was not just a political figure but a spiritual intermediary, responsible for maintaining harmony between the human and divine realms. When the cursed king fails in this role, he disrupts the cosmic order, inviting divine punishment. This idea challenges our modern notions of leadership, emphasizing that true power comes with accountability and a deep respect for forces beyond human control. The myth also highlights the Hittites' views on divine justice. The gods in this story are not arbitrary or cruel. They act as enforcers of a moral and cosmic order. The curse is not merely a punishment but a corrective measure, designed to restore balance and remind humanity of its place in the grand scheme of things. This perspective suggests that the Hittites saw divine intervention as a necessary force, one that ensured the stability of their world and the integrity of their values. Moreover, the tale of the cursed king serves as a cautionary narrative about the dangers of unchecked ambition. The king's downfall is not just a result of his defiance, but also his inability to recognize the limits of his power. His story warns against the temptation to prioritize personal glory over the well-being of others, a theme that resonates across cultures and time periods. Through this myth, the Hittites convey a timeless lesson about the importance of humility and the perils of arrogance. This myth also sheds light on the Hittites' understanding of collective responsibility. The curse affects not only the king but his entire kingdom, underscoring the idea that a leader's actions have consequences for everyone under their rule. This reflects a communal worldview where the fate of the individual is deeply intertwined with the fate of the group. It's a reminder that leadership is not just about personal success, but about stewardship and care for the community as a whole. As we reflect on the tale of the cursed king, we're invited to consider how these ancient lessons might apply to our own world. The Hittites' emphasis on accountability, humility, and the interconnectedness of all things offers a profound perspective on leadership and power, one that challenges us to think about how we wield our own influence. It's a story that transcends its ancient origins, speaking to universal truths about the human condition and the responsibilities that come with authority. With the echoes of this cautionary tale still lingering, we're ready to explore another captivating aspect of Hittite mythology, the myth of the eternal flame, a story that illuminates their beliefs about fire, ritual, and the enduring power of the divine. Now, as we step into the realm of fire and divinity, we encounter the myth of the eternal flame, a story that burns brightly in the heart of Hittite culture. This myth centers around a sacred flame that was believed to never extinguish, symbolizing the enduring presence of the gods and the unbroken connection between the mortal and divine worlds. For the Hittites, fire was not just a physical element but a powerful spiritual force, and the eternal flame served as a focal point for their rituals and beliefs. The eternal flame was more than a symbol, it was a living embodiment of divine power. In Hittite temples, this flame was carefully tended by priests who saw its preservation as a sacred duty. The act of keeping the flame alive was a ritual in itself, representing the Hittites' commitment to maintaining harmony with the gods. If the flame were to go out, it was believed to signal a rupture in the relationship between humanity and the divine, a catastrophe that could bring misfortune to the entire kingdom. This myth challenges our understanding of ancient fire worship by revealing how deeply the Hittites intertwined fire with their spiritual and cultural identity. Unlike other cultures that might have seen fire as a tool or a destructive force, the Hittites viewed it as a bridge to the divine, a medium through which they could communicate with the gods. The eternal flame was a constant reminder of the gods' presence, a source of comfort and guidance in a world filled with uncertainty. The significance of the eternal flame also sheds light on the Hittites' approach to ritual and tradition. For them, rituals were not mere formalities but vital acts of devotion that sustained the cosmic order. The flame's perpetual nature symbolized the timelessness of these practices, emphasizing the importance of continuity and respect for the past. This challenges modern assumptions about ancient rituals as static or unchanging, showing instead how they were dynamic expressions of a living faith. Moreover, the myth of the eternal flame highlights the Hittites' belief in the interconnectedness of all things. Just as the flame required constant care to remain alive, so too did the relationship between humans and the gods require ongoing effort and reverence. This idea reflects a worldview where every action, no matter how small, had the potential to influence the balance of the universe. It's a perspective that invites us to consider how our own actions, even in the modern world, might carry deeper significance than we realize. The eternal flame also serves as a metaphor for resilience and hope. In a world where natural disasters, wars, and other challenges were ever present, the flame's unyielding light offered a sense of stability and reassurance. It reminded the Hittites that, no matter how dark the times, the divine presence was always with them, guiding and protecting them through adversity. As we reflect on the myth of the eternal flame, we're reminded of the enduring power of symbols and the ways in which ancient cultures used them to make sense of their world. The Hittites' reverence for fire challenges us to think about the elements we hold sacred and the rituals that give meaning to our lives. It's a story that not only illuminates their beliefs, but also invites us to consider the timeless human need for connection, continuity, and hope. With the glow of the eternal flame still warming our thoughts, we're ready to explore another fascinating aspect of Hittite mythology, the legend of the vanishing city, a tale that delves into their fears of loss and the fragility of human achievements. Now, as we turn our attention to the shadows of history, we encounter the haunting legend of the vanishing city, a myth that speaks to the Hittites' deepest fears of abandonment and loss. This story tells of a once thriving city that mysteriously disappears overnight, leaving behind only whispers and questions. For the Hittites, this tale was more than just a cautionary story. It was a reflection of their anxieties about the fragility of human achievements and the ever-present threat of being forgotten. The vanishing city was said to be a place of great prosperity, a hub of culture, trade, and divine favor. Its sudden disappearance was seen as a punishment from the gods, a reminder that even the most powerful civilizations were vulnerable to their wrath. This myth underscores the Hittites' belief that the favor of the gods was not guaranteed, and that any misstep, whether in ritual, governance, or morality, could lead to catastrophic consequences. What makes this myth particularly striking is how it mirrors the Hittites' own historical experiences. As a civilization that rose to great power only to eventually decline, the story of the vanishing city likely resonated deeply with them. It served as a poignant reminder of the impermanence of human endeavors and the importance of maintaining divine favor through piety and proper conduct. The legend also reveals the Hittites' fear of abandonment, not just by the gods but by their own people. The idea of a city disappearing overnight suggests a loss of identity and continuity, a rupture in the fabric of society. For a culture that placed such high value on tradition and communal bonds, this was a terrifying prospect. The myth challenges us to consider how ancient societies grappled with the fear of being erased from history, a concern that still echoes in our modern world. Moreover, the vanishing city serves as a metaphor for the fragility of memory. In a time when written records were scarce and oral traditions were the primary means of preserving history, the loss of a city could mean the loss of its stories, its people, and its legacy. This myth highlights the Hittites' awareness of how easily the past could slip away, urging them to cherish and protect their cultural heritage. As we reflect on this legend, we're reminded of the universal human fear of being forgotten. The Hittite story of the vanishing city invites us to consider what we leave behind and how we ensure that our own achievements endure. It's a tale that not only sheds light on their worldview, but also resonates with our own anxieties about legacy and permanence. With the echoes of the vanishing city still lingering in our minds, we're ready to delve into another captivating aspect of Hittite mythology, the myth of the divine smith, a story that challenges our understanding of craftsmanship and divine intervention. Now, as we step into the realm of creation and divine skill, we encounter the myth of the divine smith, a figure who embodies the intersection of human ingenuity and heavenly power. This story introduces us to a godlike blacksmith, a master craftsman whose work was not only revered but also seen as a direct extension of divine will. For the Hittites, this myth was more than just a tale of skill. It was a reflection of their belief in the sacred nature of craftsmanship and the role of the gods in guiding human endeavors. The divine smith was said to possess unparalleled talent, crafting weapons, tools, and artifacts of immense power. His creations were not merely objects of utility, but symbols of divine favor and protection. This challenges the traditional view of blacksmiths as mere laborers, elevating them to a status where their work was seen as a form of communion with the gods. The Hittites believed that through his craft, the divine smith channeled the power of the heavens, making him a vital link between the mortal and divine worlds. What makes this myth particularly fascinating is how it redefines the concept of divine intervention. Unlike other myths where gods directly intervene in human affairs, here the divine smith acts as an intermediary, using his skills to manifest the god's will on earth. This suggests that the Hittites saw craftsmanship not just as a practical skill, but as a sacred duty, one that required both talent and piety. The divine smith's work was a testament to the idea that humans could participate in the divine order through their own efforts, provided they remained faithful and diligent. The myth also highlights the Hittites' deep respect for artisans and their craft. In a society where survival often depended on the quality of tools and weapons, the role of the blacksmith was crucial. By elevating the smith to a divine status, the Hittites acknowledged the importance of skilled labor and the transformative power of human creativity. This challenges modern assumptions about the separation of the sacred and the mundane, showing that for the Hittites, even the most practical tasks could have spiritual significance. Moreover, the story of the divine smith invites us to reconsider the relationship between humans and the divine. It suggests that the gods were not distant, aloof figures but active participants in the world, working through individuals who dedicated themselves to their craft. This myth underscores the Hittites' belief in a collaborative relationship with the divine, where human effort and divine guidance were intertwined. As we reflect on this myth, we're reminded of the enduring power of creativity and the ways in which it connects us to something greater than ourselves. The divine smith story challenges us to see craftsmanship not just as a skill but as a form of devotion, a way to honor the gods and contribute to the world's order. It's a tale that not only sheds light on Hittite values but also resonates with our own appreciation for art, innovation, and the pursuit of excellence. With the divine smith's hammer still echoing in our thoughts, we're ready to explore another captivating chapter of Hittite mythology, the tale of star-crossed lovers, a story that delves into the complexities of love, destiny, and societal norms. Now, as we turn our attention to the realm of love and fate, we encounter one of the most poignant tales in Hittite mythology, the story of star-crossed lovers. This myth, rich with emotion and tragedy, offers a profound glimpse into how the Hittites viewed love, destiny, and the societal forces that often shaped human lives. At its heart, this tale is not just about romance, but about the tension between personal desire and the expectations of a community bound by tradition and divine will. The myth tells of two lovers whose union was forbidden by the gods and society alike. Their love, pure and passionate, was seen as a threat to the established order, a disruption that could not be tolerated. This reflects the Hittite belief that love, while powerful, was not always a force for harmony. Instead, it could challenge the very fabric of their world, forcing individuals to confront the limits of their freedom and the weight of their responsibilities. What makes this story particularly compelling is how it intertwines the personal and the cosmic. The lovers' fate was not merely a result of their choices, but was shaped by the will of the gods, who often intervened to maintain balance and order. This suggests that the Hittites saw love as something both deeply personal and profoundly connected to the divine. It was a force that could elevate individuals, but also one that could bring them into conflict with the larger forces governing their lives. The tragic ending of this myth, where the lovers are ultimately separated by fate, reveals the Hittites' complex views on destiny. For them, destiny was not something to be resisted but accepted, even when it brought pain. This reflects a world view where the gods' plans were seen as ultimately just, even if they were difficult to understand in the moment. The lover's story serves as a reminder that human lives are often shaped by forces beyond their control, and that true wisdom lies in accepting this reality with grace. At the same time, the myth also highlights the societal norms that governed Hittite life. The lovers' struggle was not just against the gods, but against the expectations of their community. Their story underscores the tension between individual desires and collective values, a theme that resonates across cultures and time periods. For the Hittites, this tension was a source of both conflict and growth, as it forced individuals to navigate the delicate balance between personal happiness and social harmony. As we reflect on this tale, we're reminded of the universal nature of love and the challenges it often brings. The story of these star-crossed lovers challenges us to consider the ways in which love can both unite and divide, inspire and destroy. It's a myth that not only sheds light on Hittite beliefs, but also invites us to reflect on our own experiences of love, fate, and the forces that shape our lives. With the echoes of this tragic love story still lingering, we're ready to explore another fascinating aspect of Hittite mythology, the myth of the cosmic tree, a symbol that connects the heavens, earth, and underworld in ways that challenge our understanding of ancient cosmology. Now, as we journey deeper into the heart of Hittite mythology, we encounter a symbol that transcends the boundaries of the physical world, the cosmic tree. This towering, otherworldly tree was believed to connect the heavens, the earth, and the underworld, serving as a bridge between the realms of gods, humans, and the dead. For the Hittites, this tree was not just a mythic image, but a profound representation of the interconnectedness of all existence, challenging our modern understanding of ancient cosmology. The cosmic tree, often depicted as a towering oak or cedar, was seen as a living axis that held the universe together. Its roots reached deep into the underworld, its trunk stood firmly on the earth, and its branches stretched high into the heavens. This imagery reflects the Hittite belief in a universe that was not divided into separate, isolated realms, but was instead a unified whole where every part was connected to the others. This challenges the common assumption that ancient cultures viewed the cosmos as fragmented or hierarchical. Instead, the Hittites saw it as a dynamic, interconnected system, where the actions of gods, humans, and even the dead could influence one another. What makes this myth particularly fascinating is how it reveals the Hittites' understanding of balance and harmony. The cosmic tree was not just a passive symbol, but an active force that maintained the equilibrium of the universe. It was believed that if the tree were ever damaged or destroyed, the entire cosmos would fall into chaos. This idea reflects a deep respect for the natural world and a recognition of humanity's role in preserving its balance. It also suggests that the Hittites saw themselves as part of a larger cosmic order, where their actions had far-reaching consequences. The cosmic tree also played a central role in Hittite rituals and ceremonies. Priests and worshippers would often gather around sacred trees, offering prayers and sacrifices to ensure the tree's vitality and, by extension, the stability of the universe. These rituals highlight the tree's dual role as both a physical and spiritual entity, a reminder that the sacred and the mundane were deeply intertwined in Hittite culture. This challenges the modern tendency to separate the spiritual from the material, offering a glimpse into a worldview where the divine was ever present in the natural world. Moreover, the myth of the cosmic tree invites us to reconsider our understanding of ancient astronomy and cosmology. While many ancient cultures viewed the heavens as distant and unreachable, the Hittites saw them as intimately connected to the earth through the tree. This suggests a more holistic view of the cosmos, where celestial events were not just abstract phenomena, but had direct implications for life on Earth. The tree's branches reaching into the heavens symbolized the Hittites' belief that the divine was not distant but accessible, a source of guidance and wisdom that could be sought through ritual and prayer. As we reflect on this myth, we're reminded of the enduring power of symbols to convey complex ideas about the universe and our place within it. The cosmic tree challenges us to think beyond the boundaries of our modern worldview and consider the possibility of a universe that is deeply interconnected, where every action has a ripple effect across the realms of existence. It's a myth that not only sheds light on Hittite beliefs, but also invites us to reflect on our own understanding of the cosmos and the forces that shape our lives. With the image of the cosmic tree still vivid in our minds, we're ready to explore another intriguing aspect of Hittite mythology, the legend of the shape-shifting god, a figure whose ability to transform reflects the Hittites' views on adaptability and the ever-changing nature of existence. Now, as we turn our attention to the legend of the shape-shifting god, we step into a realm where transformation is not just a possibility but a fundamental aspect of existence. This myth introduces us to a deity whose ability to change forms reflects the Hittites' profound understanding of adaptability and the ever-changing nature of life. Unlike many gods who are bound to a single form or identity, this shape-shifting god embodies the fluidity of the universe, challenging our modern notions of stability and permanence. The shape-shifting god, often associated with the forces of nature, could take on the form of animals, humans, or even inanimate objects. This ability was not merely a display of power but a reflection of the Hittites' belief in the interconnectedness of all things. By transforming, the god could move seamlessly between different realms, earth, sky, and underworld, acting as a bridge between the divine and the mortal. This idea suggests that the Hittites saw transformation not as something to be feared but as a natural and necessary part of life, a way to navigate the complexities of existence. What makes this myth particularly compelling is how it mirrors the Hittites' own experiences in a world of constant change. Living in a region prone to shifting political alliances, environmental challenges, and cultural exchanges, the Hittites valued adaptability as a key survival trait. The shape-shifting god, then, becomes a symbol of resilience, embodying the idea that flexibility and openness to change are essential for thriving in an unpredictable world. This challenges the modern tendency to cling to rigid structures and identities, offering instead a vision of life as a dynamic, ever-evolving process. The myth also highlights the Hittites' understanding of transformation as a form of empowerment. By changing forms, the god could overcome obstacles, outwit enemies, and achieve goals that would be impossible in a single, fixed state. This suggests that the Hittites saw transformation not as a loss of identity, but as a way to expand one's capabilities and possibilities. It's a perspective that invites us to reconsider our own relationship with change, encouraging us to embrace it as an opportunity for growth rather than a threat to our sense of self. In Hittite rituals, the shape-shifting god was often invoked in ceremonies that marked transitions, birth, death, seasonal changes, and even political shifts. These rituals emphasized the importance of adaptability in navigating life's transitions, reinforcing the idea that transformation is not something to be resisted but embraced. This challenges the modern tendency to view change as disruptive or destabilizing, offering instead a more holistic view of life as a series of interconnected transformations. As we reflect on this myth, we're reminded of the enduring relevance of the Hittites' worldview. In a world that often feels fragmented and uncertain, the legend of the shape-shifting god offers a powerful reminder of the importance of adaptability and resilience. It challenges us to see transformation not as a disruption but as a natural and necessary part of life, a way to navigate the complexities of existence with grace and strength. With this understanding of transformation still fresh in our minds, we're ready to explore another fascinating aspect of Hittite mythology, the myth of the forgotten goddess, a story that reflects the Hittites' anxieties about memory, legacy, and the passage of time. Now, as we shift our focus to the myth of the forgotten goddess, we uncover a tale that speaks to the fragility of memory and the fear of being erased from history. This story revolves around a once revered deity who, over time, is neglected and ultimately forgotten by her people. It's a poignant reflection of the Hittites' deep-seated anxieties about legacy and the passage of time, offering a window into their understanding of how easily even the most powerful figures can fade into obscurity. The forgotten goddess was once central to Hittite worship, her name invoked in rituals and her presence felt in every aspect of daily life. Yet, as generations passed, her importance waned. Temples dedicated to her fell into disrepair, and her stories were no longer told. This gradual erasure wasn't just a loss of a divine figure, it symbolized the Hittites' fear of being forgotten themselves. In a world where empires rose and fell, and where cultural memory was often tied to the survival of a people, the myth of the forgotten goddess served as a stark reminder of the impermanence of human achievements. What makes this myth particularly striking is how it mirrors the Hittites' own historical experiences. As a civilization that thrived in a region of shifting powers and cultural exchanges, they were acutely aware of how quickly a society's legacy could vanish. The forgotten goddess, then, becomes a metaphor for the fragility of cultural memory, embodying the idea that even the most enduring traditions can be lost if not actively preserved. This challenges our modern assumptions about the permanence of history, reminding us that memory is not a given but something that must be nurtured and protected. The myth also highlights the Hittites' understanding of the emotional weight of forgetting, for the goddess being forgotten wasn't just a loss of power, it was a loss of identity. Her story reflects the Hittites' belief that memory is tied to existence itself, and that to be forgotten is to cease to matter. This idea resonates deeply in a world where so much of our own history is at risk of being lost or overlooked, urging us to consider what we choose to remember and what we allow to fade away. In Hittite rituals, the forgotten goddess was sometimes invoked in ceremonies meant to honor ancestors and preserve their stories. These rituals underscored the importance of memory as a way to connect the past, present, and future, reinforcing the idea that remembering is an act of preservation. This challenges the modern tendency to prioritize the new over the old, offering instead a perspective that values continuity and the lessons of the past. As we reflect on this myth, we're reminded of the enduring power of memory and the responsibility we all share in preserving it. The story of the forgotten goddess invites us to consider what we might be losing as we move forward, and how we can ensure that the stories and traditions that matter most are not lost to time. It's a call to action, urging us to be mindful of the legacies we leave behind and the memories we choose to carry forward. With this exploration of memory and legacy still fresh in our minds, we're ready to delve into the next myth, The Tale of the Sacred River, a story that reveals the Hittites' deep connection to the natural world and the spiritual significance they attributed to water. Turning our attention now to the tale of the sacred river, we find ourselves immersed in a myth that reveals the Hittites' profound reverence for water and its life-giving properties. This story centers around a river believed to be a divine entity, a source of both physical and spiritual nourishment for the Hittite people. Unlike many ancient cultures that viewed rivers merely as resources, the Hittites saw them as sacred beings, embodying the power of creation, purification, and renewal. This myth challenges our modern understanding of water worship, offering a glimpse into how the Hittites intertwined their spiritual beliefs with the natural world. The sacred river was more than just a body of water. It was a living, breathing force that connected the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. In Hittite rituals, offerings were made to the river to ensure its favor, as it was believed to hold the power to cleanse sins, heal the sick, and even influence the fate of the community. These rituals often involved elaborate ceremonies where priests and worshippers would gather at the riverbanks to sing hymns, present gifts, and perform acts of devotion. This deep connection to the river reflects the Hittites' belief in the interconnectedness of all things, where the natural and the divine were inseparable. What makes this myth particularly fascinating is how it challenges our assumptions about ancient water worship. While many cultures revered rivers for their practical benefits, the Hittites elevated them to a divine status, seeing them as intermediaries between humans and the gods. This perspective reveals a sophisticated understanding of the spiritual significance of water, one that goes beyond mere survival or agricultural dependence. For the Hittites, the sacred river was a symbol of life itself, a reminder of the delicate balance between humanity and the natural world. The myth also sheds light on the Hittites' environmental consciousness. By attributing divine qualities to the river, they acknowledged its vulnerability and the need to protect it. This stands in stark contrast to modern attitudes that often treat natural resources as expendable. The Hittites' reverence for the sacred river serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of respecting and preserving the natural world, a lesson that resonates deeply in today's context of environmental challenges. In Hittite cosmology, the sacred river was also seen as a boundary between the realms of the living and the dead. It was believed that the river's waters could carry souls to the afterlife, making it a crucial element in funerary rituals. This belief underscores the Hittites' view of water as a transformative force, capable of bridging the gap between life and death. It challenges our understanding of ancient afterlife beliefs, revealing a complex and nuanced worldview that saw water as a conduit for spiritual transition. As we reflect on the tale of the sacred river, we're reminded of the enduring power of nature in shaping human beliefs and practices. This myth invites us to reconsider our own relationship with water, urging us to see it not just as a resource but as a vital and sacred part of our world. It's a call to honor the natural forces that sustain us and to recognize the deep connections between the physical and the spiritual. With this exploration of the sacred river still flowing through our thoughts, we're ready to move into the next myth. The story of the celestial battle, a dramatic tale that reveals the Hittites' views on conflict, resolution, and the cosmic order. Now, let's ascend into the heavens to uncover the myth of the celestial battle, a dramatic clash among the gods that reveals the Hittites' profound understanding of conflict and resolution. This myth transports us to a realm where divine forces collide, not just in physical combat but in a struggle for cosmic balance and order. Unlike many ancient tales of divine warfare, the Hittite celestial battle is less about destruction and more about the restoration of harmony, offering a unique perspective on how they viewed conflict as a necessary force for renewal. At the heart of this myth is a fierce confrontation between the storm god Tarhun and a rival deity, often depicted as a chaotic force threatening the stability of the heavens. The battle is not merely a display of brute strength, but a symbolic representation of the eternal struggle between order and chaos. For the Hittites, this celestial conflict mirrored the challenges they faced in their own lives, where conflicts, whether between kingdoms, within communities, or even within oneself, were seen as opportunities to restore balance and forge a stronger, more harmonious existence. What makes this myth particularly intriguing is its emphasis on resolution rather than victory. Unlike other ancient myths where the victor claims dominance, the Hittite celestial battle concludes with a truce, a negotiated peace that ensures the continued stability of the cosmos. This reflects the Hittites' belief in the importance of compromise and reconciliation, values that were deeply embedded in their political and social structures. Their treaties, some of the earliest known in history, often emphasized mutual respect and cooperation, mirroring the divine resolution in this myth. The celestial battle also highlights the Hittites' view of the gods as active participants in the world's affairs, not distant or detached beings. The gods' willingness to engage in conflict and seek resolution demonstrates their investment in maintaining cosmic order, a concept that resonated deeply with the Hittite people. It suggests that they saw divine intervention not as arbitrary but as a necessary force to guide humanity through its own struggles. This myth challenges our modern understanding of conflict, urging us to see it not as something to be avoided at all costs, but as a natural and sometimes necessary process for growth and renewal. The Hittite celestial battle reminds us that resolution, not domination, is the ultimate goal, a lesson that remains profoundly relevant in today's world of ongoing conflicts and divisions. As we reflect on this myth, we're invited to consider how the Hittites' approach to conflict and resolution might inform our own lives. Their belief in the transformative power of struggle and the importance of seeking harmony offers a timeless perspective, one that encourages us to face challenges with courage and a commitment to balance. With the echoes of this celestial battle still resonating, we're ready to delve into the next myth, the legend of the cursed treasure, a tale that explores the consequences of greed and the dangers of unchecked desire. Shifting our focus from the heavens to the earth, we now uncover the legend of the cursed treasure, a tale that delves into the darker side of human desire and its consequences. This myth tells the story of a hidden treasure, said to be imbued with a powerful curse that brings ruin to anyone who dares to claim it. For the Hittites, this story was more than just a cautionary tale. It was a reflection of their deep-seated beliefs about greed, morality, and the inevitable repercussions of selfish actions. At the center of this myth is a treasure of unimaginable wealth, hidden away by the gods as a test of human character. Those who stumble upon it are initially overcome by excitement and ambition, believing the treasure will bring them power and prosperity. However, as the curse takes hold, their lives begin to unravel. Relationships fracture, health deteriorates, and fortunes crumble, leaving the treasure seekers in a state of despair. The Hittites used this story to illustrate the dangers of unchecked greed, emphasizing that the pursuit of material wealth often comes at a great cost. What makes this myth particularly compelling is its exploration of the psychological and spiritual toll of greed. The cursed treasure doesn't just bring physical harm, it corrupts the soul, turning even the most virtuous individuals into shadows of their former selves. This reflects the Hittites' belief that greed is not merely a personal failing but a force that disrupts the harmony of the community and the natural order. By portraying greed as a destructive and contagious force, the myth underscores the importance of moderation and ethical behavior in maintaining social and cosmic balance. The legend also highlights the Hittites' understanding of consequences as an integral part of the moral fabric of the universe. In their worldview, every action had a reaction, and the pursuit of wealth at the expense of others was seen as a violation of divine law. The cursed treasure serves as a reminder that the gods are always watching, and those who act selfishly will inevitably face retribution. This belief in divine justice was a cornerstone of Hittite society, influencing their laws, rituals, and daily conduct. Interestingly, the myth doesn't end with a clear resolution or redemption for the treasure seekers. Instead, it leaves them trapped in a cycle of suffering, a stark warning to future generations. This open-ended conclusion reinforces the idea that some mistakes cannot be undone, and that the consequences of greed are often irreversible. For the Hittites, this was a powerful lesson in humility and the importance of aligning one's actions with the greater good. As we reflect on this myth, it's impossible not to draw parallels to our own world, where the allure of wealth and power continues to drive people to make questionable choices. The legend of the cursed treasure challenges us to examine our own desires and consider the true cost of our ambitions. It reminds us that wealth, when pursued without regard for others, can become a curse rather than a blessing. With this cautionary tale still lingering in our minds, we now turn to the next myth, the role of divine messengers in Hittite mythology, a fascinating exploration of how the gods communicated with humanity and guided their actions. Now, let's step into the realm of divine communication, where the gods themselves reached out to humanity through messengers. In Hittite mythology, divine messengers played a crucial role, acting as intermediaries between the heavens and the earth. These figures were not just passive carriers of divine will, they were active participants in shaping the lives of mortals, delivering guidance, warnings, and even punishments from the gods. This myth challenges our understanding of how ancient cultures perceived communication, blending the spiritual with the practical in ways that still resonate today. At the heart of this myth is the idea that the gods were not distant or detached but deeply involved in the affairs of humanity. Divine messengers, often depicted as swift and otherworldly beings, were tasked with delivering messages that could alter the course of history. Whether it was a command to a king, a prophecy for a community, or a warning to an individual, these messages carried immense weight. For the Hittites, this system of divine communication reinforced the belief that the gods were always present, watching over their actions and intervening when necessary. What makes this concept particularly fascinating is how it reflects the Hittites' understanding of hierarchy and order. Just as kings and rulers relied on messengers to convey their decrees, the gods too employed their own emissaries to ensure their will was carried out. This parallel between the divine and the mortal worlds highlights the Hittites' belief in a structured, interconnected universe where every action, whether human or divine, had a purpose and a consequence. The myth also sheds light on the Hittites' views on trust and authority. Divine messengers were seen as infallible, their words carrying the absolute truth of the gods. To question or disobey a divine message was not just an act of rebellion, it was a violation of cosmic order. This belief in the authority of divine communication shaped Hittite society, influencing everything from political decisions to personal conduct. It was a reminder that the gods' will was not to be taken lightly, and that their messages demanded immediate and unwavering obedience. Interestingly, the role of divine messengers wasn't limited to delivering good news or blessings. They also brought warnings of impending disasters, judgments for wrongdoing, and even instructions for rituals to appease the gods. This duality of both guidance and correction reveals the Hittites' nuanced understanding of divine intervention. The gods were not just benevolent protectors but also enforcers of justice, ensuring that balance was maintained in both the spiritual and physical realms. As we explore this myth, it's worth considering how the concept of divine messengers has evolved over time. While modern societies may not rely on celestial beings to deliver messages, the idea of intermediaries, whether religious figures, leaders, or even technology, remains a powerful force in shaping human behavior. The Hittite myth challenges us to reflect on how we interpret and respond to messages of authority, and whether we, like the ancient Hittites, see them as part of a larger, interconnected system. With this exploration of divine communication still fresh in our minds, We now turn to the next myth, the tale of a lost civilization, a story that delves into the Hittites' views on history, identity, and the passage of time. Now, let's journey into the shadows of time, where the Hittites themselves pondered the mysteries of civilizations that came before them. The myth of the lost civilization is a fascinating tale that not only captivates the imagination, but also reveals how the Hittites viewed their place in history and the world around them. This story speaks to their understanding of cultural identity, the passage of time, and the fragility of human achievement. At the heart of this myth is the idea that great civilizations, no matter how powerful or advanced, are not immune to decline and disappearance. The Hittites believed that long before their own empire rose to prominence, there existed a civilization so grand and prosperous that it seemed eternal. Yet, this civilization vanished without a trace, leaving behind only whispers of its existence. For the Hittites, this story served as a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the mightiest empires are subject to the whims of fate and the passage of time. What makes this myth particularly intriguing is how it reflects the Hittites' own anxieties about their legacy. As a people who valued history and tradition, they were deeply aware of the impermanence of human endeavors. The tale of the lost civilization was not just a story about the past. It was a mirror held up to their own society, urging them to reflect on what they might leave behind for future generations. It was a call to preserve their culture, their achievements, and their identity, lest they too be forgotten. The myth also highlights the Hittites' belief in the cyclical nature of history. They saw the rise and fall of civilizations as part of a larger, inevitable pattern, a cosmic rhythm that governed the world. This perspective shaped their understanding of their own empire's place in history. They knew they were not the first great civilization, nor would they be the last. This humility, born from the myth of the lost civilization, allowed them to approach their own achievements with a sense of purpose and responsibility, knowing that their actions would one day be judged by the sands of time. Interestingly, the story of the lost civilization also reveals the Hittites' fascination with the unknown. The idea that an entire society could vanish, leaving behind only fragments of its existence, sparked their curiosity and imagination. It encouraged them to explore, to document, and to seek out the stories of those who came before them. In this way, the myth served as both a warning and an inspiration, a reminder to learn from the past while striving to build a future that would endure. As we reflect on this myth, it's worth considering how it resonates with our own understanding of history and cultural identity. Like the Hittites, we too are shaped by the stories of those who came before us, and we too face the challenge of preserving our legacy in an ever-changing world. The tale of the lost civilization invites us to think about what we value, what we hope to leave behind, and how we might be remembered by future generations. With this exploration of the lost civilization still fresh in our minds, we now turn to the next myth, the story of an eternal night, a tale that delves into the Hittites' understanding of time, darkness, and the mysteries of the cosmos. Now, let's step into the realm of darkness, where the Hittites grappled with one of their most haunting myths, the story of an eternal night. This tale, shrouded in mystery and cosmic wonder, offers a glimpse into how the Hittites understood time, the heavens, and the delicate balance of the universe. Unlike the myths we've explored so far, this one takes us into a world where the sun refuses to rise and darkness reigns unchallenged. At the heart of this myth is the idea of a celestial disruption so profound that it throws the natural order into chaos. The Hittites believed that the sun, moon, and stars were not just celestial bodies but divine forces that governed the rhythm of life. When the myth speaks of an eternal night, it's not merely a poetic image, it's a terrifying vision of what happens when these forces fall out of harmony. For the Hittites, this eternal night symbolized a breakdown in the cosmic order, a moment when the gods themselves seemed to turn away from the world. What makes this myth particularly fascinating is how it reflects the Hittites' understanding of timekeeping and their relationship with the heavens. Unlike modern societies which rely on precise clocks and calendars, the Hittites measured time through the cycles of the sun and moon. The idea of an eternal night would have been more than just a story. It would have been a profound disruption to their way of life. Without the sun to mark the days or the moon to guide the nights, their entire sense of time would have been thrown into disarray. This myth, then, serves as a reminder of how deeply connected the Hittites were to the natural world and how vulnerable they felt to the whims of the cosmos. But the myth of the eternal night isn't just about fear, it's also about resilience. In many versions of the story, the Hittites don't simply accept the darkness, they seek to restore the light. This reflects their belief in the power of ritual and prayer to influence the divine. Through offerings, ceremonies, and appeals to the gods, they believed they could restore balance to the universe and bring back the sun. This aspect of the myth reveals a hopeful side to the Hittites, a belief that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, humanity has the power to seek light and renewal. From a broader perspective, this myth challenges our understanding of ancient timekeeping and celestial events. It shows us that for the Hittites, the heavens were not just a backdrop to human life, but an active, dynamic force that shaped their world. Their myths about the sun, moon, and stars were not just stories, they were explanations for the natural phenomena they observed and a way to make sense of their place in the universe. The idea of an eternal night forces us to reconsider how ancient societies viewed time and the cosmos, reminding us that their understanding was deeply intertwined with their spiritual and cultural beliefs. As we reflect on this myth, it's worth considering how it resonates with our own experiences of darkness and light. While we may not fear an eternal night in the same way the Hittites did, we too face moments when the world feels out of balance, when the future seems uncertain, and when the light feels far away. The myth of the eternal night invites us to think about how we respond to these moments, whether we succumb to despair or find ways to seek out the light, just as the Hittites did. With this exploration of the eternal night still lingering in our thoughts, we now turn to the next myth, the story of a divine healer, a tale that reveals the Hittites' views on health, medicine, and the power of divine intervention. Now, let's shift our focus to a myth that brings light to the Hittites' understanding of health and healing, the legend of the divine healer. This story offers a fascinating glimpse into how the Hittites viewed medicine, the human body, and the role of the gods in restoring balance and well-being. Unlike the myths we've explored so far, this one centers on a figure who embodies both divine power and the hope of recovery, bridging the gap between the mortal and the divine. At the heart of this myth is the divine healer, a figure revered for their ability to cure ailments and restore health. In Hittite society, illness was often seen as a sign of divine displeasure or imbalance, and healing was not just a physical process but a spiritual one. The divine healer, therefore, was more than a physician. They were a mediator between the human and the divine, someone who could interpret the will of the gods and bring about healing through rituals, prayers, and offerings. This reflects the Hittites' belief that health was deeply connected to the favor of the gods, and that true healing required both physical and spiritual intervention. What makes this myth particularly intriguing is how it challenges our modern understanding of medicine. While we often think of healing as a scientific process, the Hittites saw it as a sacred act. The divine healer's methods were rooted in rituals and ceremonies, often involving offerings to the gods, purification rites, and the use of sacred objects. These practices highlight the Hittites' belief in the interconnectedness of the physical and spiritual worlds. For them, healing was not just about treating symptoms, but about restoring harmony between the individual and the divine forces that governed their lives. This myth also sheds light on the Hittites' views on the fragility of human life. In a world where illness and injury were constant threats, the divine healer represented hope and resilience. The stories of their miraculous cures served as a reminder that even in the face of suffering, there was always the possibility of renewal and recovery. This belief in the power of divine intervention gave the Hittites a sense of comfort and control in an unpredictable world, reinforcing their faith in the gods' ability to intervene in human affairs. From a broader perspective, the myth of the divine healer challenges our understanding of ancient medicine and its cultural significance. It shows us that for the Hittites, healing was not just a practical concern but a deeply spiritual one. Their approach to medicine was holistic, blending physical treatments with spiritual practices in a way that reflected their worldview. This myth invites us to reconsider how we think about health and healing, reminding us that for many ancient cultures, the line between the physical and the spiritual was far more fluid than it is today. As we reflect on this myth, it's worth considering how it resonates with our own experiences of health and healing. While modern medicine has made incredible advances, many people still turn to spiritual or holistic practices in times of illness, seeking not just physical relief but emotional and spiritual comfort as well. The myth of the divine healer reminds us that healing is a multifaceted process, one that involves not just the body but the mind and spirit too. With this exploration of the divine healer still fresh in our minds, we now turn to the next myth, the story of vanishing warriors, a tale that reveals the Hittites' views on heroism, sacrifice, and the mysteries of the afterlife. Now, let's step into the shadows of the battlefield, where the myth of the vanishing warriors unfolds, a tale that reveals the Hittites' complex views on heroism, sacrifice, and the mysteries of the afterlife. This story takes us to the heart of Hittite warfare, where bravery and loss intertwine in ways that challenge our understanding of ancient heroism. At the center of this myth are warriors who vanish without a trace during battle, leaving behind only questions and legends. These disappearances were not seen as mere accidents or tragedies, but as events imbued with deep spiritual significance. For the Hittites, the battlefield was not just a place of physical conflict, but a realm where the boundaries between life and death blurred. The vanishing warriors were believed to have been taken by the gods, either as a reward for their valor or as a sacrifice to maintain cosmic balance. This myth reflects the Hittites' belief in the sacred nature of warfare. To them, battle was not just a test of strength but a ritual act, one that connected the living with the divine. The warriors who disappeared were seen as having fulfilled their ultimate purpose, their sacrifice ensuring the favor of the gods and the survival of their people. This idea of heroism was deeply tied to the concept of duty. Warriors were expected to fight not for personal glory but for the greater good of their community and the divine order. What makes this myth particularly compelling is how it challenges our modern notions of heroism. Today, we often celebrate heroes for their individual achievements and survival. But for the Hittites, true heroism was about selflessness and the willingness to give everything, even one's life, for a higher cause. The vanishing warriors embodied this ideal, their disappearances serving as a powerful reminder of the sacrifices required to uphold the balance of the world. The myth also sheds light on the Hittites' views on the afterlife. The warriors who vanished were believed to have been taken to a special place among the gods, where they would continue to serve as protectors and guardians. This belief provided comfort to those left behind, offering a sense of continuity and purpose even in the face of loss. It also reinforced the idea that death in battle was not an end but a transition, a passage to a higher state of existence. From a broader perspective, the myth of the vanishing warriors invites us to reconsider how we think about sacrifice and legacy. It shows us that for the Hittites, heroism was not just about what one achieved in life, but about the impact of one's actions on the world and the divine order. This myth challenges us to reflect on our own values and the ways in which we honor those who give their lives for others. As we leave the battlefield behind, we turn our attention to the next myth, the tale of the sacred mountain, a story that explores the Hittites' reverence for the natural world and its connection to the divine. Now let's ascend from the battlefield to the heights of the sacred mountain, a place where the Hittites believed the earthly and the divine converged. This myth takes us into the heart of Hittite spirituality, revealing how their reverence for mountains shaped their rituals, beliefs, and understanding of the cosmos. The sacred mountain, often referred to as a place where the gods dwelled, was more than just a physical landmark. It was a symbol of connection. For the Hittites, mountains were seen as bridges between the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. They believed that these towering peaks were the dwelling places of their gods, where divine power was most accessible. Rituals performed on these mountains were not just acts of worship, but attempts to communicate with the gods, to seek their favor, and to maintain the balance of the universe. One of the most striking aspects of this myth is how it challenges our modern understanding of sacred spaces. While we often think of temples or churches as the primary sites of worship, the Hittites saw the natural world itself as a temple. The sacred mountain was a place where the boundaries between the human and the divine dissolved, where rituals could directly influence the gods and the forces of nature. This belief reflects a deep connection to the environment, one that saw the natural world as alive, sacred, and deeply intertwined with human existence. The rituals performed on these mountains were elaborate and symbolic. Offerings of food, drink, and precious objects were made to the gods, often accompanied by prayers and chants. These rituals were not just about asking for blessings, but about reaffirming the relationship between the people and the divine. The Hittites believed that by honoring the gods in these sacred spaces, they could ensure the fertility of the land, the success of their crops, and the protection of their communities. What makes this myth particularly fascinating is how it reflects the Hittites' understanding of hierarchy and order. The mountain, as a symbol of the gods' power, also represented the structure of their society. Just as the mountain stood tall and unshakable, so too did the gods rule over the world with authority. This idea of divine order was mirrored in the Hittite social structure, where kings and priests acted as intermediaries between the people and the gods, ensuring that the rituals were performed correctly and that the divine will was carried out. From a broader perspective, the myth of the sacred mountain invites us to reconsider how ancient cultures viewed their relationship with the natural world. For the Hittites, mountains were not just geological formations, but living, breathing entities that held the key to understanding the divine. This challenges our modern tendency to separate the natural from the spiritual, reminding us that for many ancient peoples, the two were inseparable. As we descend from the sacred mountain, we prepare to explore the final myth in our journey, the story of the divine oracle, a tale that reveals how the Hittites sought guidance from the gods in times of uncertainty and decision-making. Now, as we step into the realm of the divine oracle, we uncover a fascinating aspect of Hittite culture, their reliance on prophecy and divine guidance to navigate the uncertainties of life. The myth of the divine oracle offers a window into how the Hittites sought answers from the gods, blending the mystical with the practical in their decision-making processes. The divine oracle was not just a figure of myth but a central part of Hittite society. Oracles were believed to be conduits of the gods, capable of interpreting their will and providing guidance on matters ranging from warfare to agriculture. This practice reveals a deep-seated belief that the gods were actively involved in human affairs, and that their wisdom could be accessed through the right rituals and intermediaries. One of the most intriguing elements of this myth is how it reflects the Hittites' understanding of uncertainty. Life in the ancient world was fraught with unpredictability. Crop failures, invasions, and natural disasters were constant threats. In such a world, the divine oracle served as a source of reassurance, offering a way to make sense of the chaos. By consulting the oracle, the Hittites believed they could align their actions with the divine will, ensuring success and protection. The process of consulting the oracle was highly ritualized. Priests and priestesses would perform elaborate ceremonies, often involving sacrifices, prayers, and the interpretation of omens. These rituals were not just about seeking answers, but about creating a sacred space where the divine could speak. The oracle's pronouncements were then carefully analyzed and used to guide decisions, whether it was the timing of a military campaign or the selection of a new king. What makes this myth particularly compelling is how it challenges our modern views on decision-making. In a world where we often rely on data, logic, and expertise, the Hittites turned to the divine for guidance. This reflects a world view where the spiritual and the practical were deeply intertwined, where the gods were seen as active participants in human life rather than distant or indifferent beings. The myth of the divine oracle also sheds light on the Hittites' views on leadership and authority. Kings and rulers often sought the oracle's counsel before making major decisions, reinforcing the idea that their power was not absolute but derived from the gods. This belief in divine sanction helped legitimize their rule and maintain social order, as it positioned them as intermediaries between the people and the divine. From a broader perspective, this myth invites us to reflect on the role of prophecy and guidance in human history. While we may no longer consult oracles, the desire for certainty and direction remains a universal human experience. The Hittites' reliance on divine guidance reminds us that, across cultures and time, people have sought ways to navigate the unknown, whether through faith, reason, or a combination of both. As we conclude our exploration of Hittite mythology, we're left with a profound appreciation for how these ancient stories challenge and expand our understanding of the past. Each myth, from the storm god Tarhun to the divine oracle, offers a glimpse into a world where the natural and the supernatural were inseparable, where the gods walked among mortals, and where the mysteries of life were met with both reverence and ingenuity. These 30 myths not only reveal the richness of Hittite culture, but also invite us to reconsider our own relationship with the past, the divine, and the natural world. What lessons can we draw from these ancient stories? How do they shape our understanding of history and humanity? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more journeys into the mysteries of the past. As we bring our journey through the 30 Hittite myths to a close, it's clear that these ancient stories are far more than just tales of gods and heroes. They are windows into a civilization that saw the world in ways that often challenge our modern perspectives. From the storm god Tarhun's battles to the divine oracle's guidance, each myth reveals a society deeply connected to the natural and supernatural, where the gods were not distant figures but active participants in everyday life. These myths force us to rethink what we know about the past. They show us a world where the lines between myth and reality were blurred, where the divine influenced everything from agriculture to warfare, and where the unknown was met with both fear and reverence. The Hittite stories remind us that history is not just a collection of facts but a tapestry of beliefs, values, and experiences that shaped how people understood their place in the universe. What's striking is how these myths resonate even today. They speak to universal themes: struggle, resilience, the search for meaning that transcend time and culture. Whether it's the tale of Telepinu's disappearance reflecting anxieties about survival, or the cosmic battle among the gods mirroring our own struggles with chaos and order, these stories remind us that the human experience is deeply interconnected across the ages. So, what can we learn from the Hittites and their myths? Perhaps it's the importance of seeking balance, of understanding that the natural and supernatural are not separate but intertwined. Or maybe it's the value of storytelling itself, as a way to make sense of the world and pass down wisdom through generations. These myths challenge us to look beyond the surface of history and consider the deeper forces that shaped ancient civilizations and continue to shape us today. As we reflect on these 30 myths, let's ask ourselves, how do these ancient stories influence our understanding of the past? What lessons can we draw from them about resilience, leadership, and the human spirit? And how might they inspire us to see our own world in new ways? If you've enjoyed this exploration of Hittite mythology, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. Which myth resonated with you the most and why? Let's keep the conversation going. And if you're eager for more journeys into the mysteries of the past, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Thanks for joining me on this adventure. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep uncovering the stories that shape our world.